The father of the Cleveland cop who shot and killed 12-year-old Tamir Rice is saying that he had no choice. He had to do what he did. The father, Fred Lohman, father of Tim Lohman, has come out with multiple quotes. Look, the entire situation is obviously hard to react to, but we're going to read the quotes. He said, "I was right there and he went for the gun. I had no choice." Now, remember, and we're going to show you the footage in just a second, we're talking about a toy gun being wielded by a 12-year-old.
And so I want to clarify there. That's Fred Lohman saying what his
quote
son,
of his son yes.
said to him,
yeah.
right? And of course, as a father, he agrees with him. Right?
Of course, he's going to defend him.
So it's like Michael Brown's stepfather saying terrible things about burning the city down after he found out that Wilson was not going to be indicted. So they give the father more of a pass. Of course, he's going to want to protect his son. I understand.
And he's
that.
a cop.
Right.
Yeah.
But of course he had a choice. It's super ironic because he later tells a story about how he saw something silver and somebody reaching for something.
The father.
The father did, because he was also a cop in New York in the 1970s. And he said, "I didn't shoot the guy," and it turned out it was a cigarette lighter, but if I was wrong, I would have been dead. But you see, apparently you did have a choice. You did, and your son had a choice. And the most important fact here in this case is 2 seconds. They shot within 2 seconds of arriving at the scene.
Yeah.
So if you're there, here's another option. Wait a third second.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I mean, you got, again, all these weapons at your disposal: batons, tasers, pepper spray, right? You're at you're near a playground. Right?
And it's a child.
Right, but you didn't even get a chance to assess it. Here's another option: freeze. Remember they used to say that? The cops used to say that? No, but the cops never want to take literally don't want to take a second of risk. I mean, like 1 second of time of risk. Oh, it's a demon. Shoot him in the head, right?
No, well, Jink,
The Rice case is fucking unbelievable because they never have to drive all the way up to the kid. They could stop the car 50 feet away and say, "Hey, drop the weapon.
Yeah.
Drop the fucking weapon." They could have done a million different things.
Yep.
They did the one thing that they wanted to do, which was a drive-by shooting. They barely even slowed down.
Why don't we show the footage?
Dead.
Show video 6, the actual shooting. You'll see, as Jenk said, how fast it happens. Jesus.
There's
Unbelievable.
immediate danger to anyone else. There's nobody there. It's not like he's a hostage and they have to shoot him right away. They don't have to pull up right against him and shoot him.
On the grass. Maybe if you'd gone to the street, you wouldn't have been as much risk.
Look, there's two cops, two grown men with real guns and a cop car. They can't stop the car 50 feet away and say, "Drop your weapon," and the kid will drop the weapon, or he'll say, "This is not a real weapon."
Yeah. Now imagine the outroar if that 12-year-old child had been a 45-year-old militia member who was parading around that playground with a rifle on his shoulder.
Yeah, no,
they would say he's exercising his rights.
No, that's such a great point. Because if it was a real weapon held by a 45-year-old white right-winger, people would be livid. How dare you shoot a guy exercising his Second Amendment rights to just carry around his weapon, right? Yeah. It's a fake gun. It's a 12-year-old, and of course, what's everybody doing there? Defending the cops, right? So here we go, and we don't understand how dangerous the cops' jobs are. No. Apparently, the cops' jobs are not at all dangerous, because the minute they see anybody that presents even a 1% threat, they execute them. Right?
Execution.
I mean, this is the second black guy to be shot with a toy gun, right?
And you remember, exactly, the Walmart situation. And that was about 2 seconds, too. Immediately they come in shooting. Now, I want to talk about one of the reasons why, some of the science done into why, perhaps, people would think that a 12-year-old with a toy gun on a playground was a deadly threat. This is a study from the APA that we talked about back in March of this year. In one experiment, students rated the innocence of people they're shown photos, ranging from infants to 25-year-olds who were black, white, or an unidentified race. The students judged children up to 9 years old as equally innocent regardless of race, but considered black children significantly less innocent than other children in every age group beginning at age 10. And perhaps more importantly, the students overestimated the age of blacks by an average of 4.5 years and found them more culpable than whites or Latinos, particularly when the boys were matched with serious crimes. So they think that they're 4.5 years older, which when you're 10 or 11 years old is night and day difference in the size and the threat represented by them. And they also think that they are more responsible for what they do.
So the cop, once he called in the shooting, said, "We got a black male, maybe 20. So he was actually 12, right? 12. So now, look, here's the most important part of this, okay? Now, the cops are one thing, and I'll rage about them in a second, but understand the hidden bias that's embedded in us as a culture, right? This is not testing, just specific white people, Republicans, right-wingers, cops. No, it's embedded in the culture.
It's just students.
It's just students. And they're not guilty. They're not racist. They're not horrible people. So that's what we're trying to say. Recognize it. It's not to say, oh yeah, you crying racist. No, dude. But it's a study, okay? You think they're 4.5 years older than they actually are, and they literally think they're more guilty. They're more responsible. These are things that you assume about black people. We all assume about black people, whether we want to or we don't, according to the study, right? We're trying to get you to understand that, so you stop assuming it, so you stop killing 12-year-olds who pose no threat whatsoever.
Yeah. There's another set of studies that I wanted to talk about on the show yesterday. It's complex, but basically what they do is they've done this with regular people, they've done it with cops. They show them photos, and they say, you're going to see a person in the photo. You need to establish if this person is a deadly threat or not, and make the decision to shoot or not. And when it's a person with a gun, cops make the decision to shoot if it's a black person more quickly than if it's a white person. They literally click the button faster.
So that's also studied.
Reproduced numerous times.
Right. Now, and of course, we see it playing out almost on a daily basis in America in the real world. Now, look, I get what I mean. We have to stretch the fine and people do. Tamir Rice shouldn't have been holding a fake gun. I remember when I was a kid, I had about 30 toy guns, okay? I never got shot for it, right? How many toy guns did you have when you were a kid, right?
How many did those cops have growing up?
Yeah, that's a great point. Okay,
how many do their kids have right now?
Right. Okay, can you just assess the situation for a second? Can you say, hey, is it a fake gun? Is it a real gun? No, I don't have time. I could be killed. There are black demons everywhere, right? I could be killed. Yeah, but that's what we pay you for, to be a cop.
A little bit of risk.
To protect the peace. We need you to assess whether that guy's a danger, and if he is, then you got to take action, and we understand that. We don't want him shooting somebody. Our kids are also near that playground. Our kids are also in that neighborhood. Somebody called in the 911 call. We understand that. But it also could be your kid. But of course, that's the thing. It can't be their kid. Yeah. So they're not going to take a risk at all. They're going to drive straight into him and shoot him within 2 seconds. Yeah. And so cops are being, and again, this is not an individual thing, right? I don't think every cop that does a shooting is like a wild-eyed KKK guy. No. They are now being trained to be cowards. They're being trained. You look for hostility.
Law supports it.
Like you go in and make a situation more hostile. You're not a peace officer. You're a war officer. We've got all of the military equipment. We've got military training. You're a war officer. You go in, you create a hostile situation, and if anybody blinks, you shoot them dead. Yeah. Why do you think it's happening all across the country? You think it's just a coincidence, right? And it's not, by the way, it's not just black people, okay? They're shooting white people. They're throwing hand grenades into babies' cribs, okay? Yes, it happens to black people more often, but they're being trained, don't take any chances, okay?
They're an occupying force.
Yeah, you're an occupying force. The citizens are not the people you're protecting. They're the enemy, okay? And for conservatives, you're applauding this? This is your worst nightmare. A government run amok that views the citizens as its enemies and that takes government power, and is there a bigger government power than killing somebody, right? That exercises government power like this. You should hate what's happening here.
Agreed.
Instead, oh, we got white cops shooting black kids. Come on. Is that really so bad? Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yes, it is really bad because it's not. I mean, this is not about black versus white. It's more about power versus those who don't have power.
And so when the cops get away with it every time, as Darren Wilson just did, as this guy will, every single time, there's no repercussions. Oh, they had no other choice. They had to do what they had to do. What's the lesson they're going to learn? Lesson is shoot first, ask questions later, because they won't ask you any questions later.
Or
they'll rig the grand jury
only
in
ask
your
if
favor.
Eric Holder makes you.
Yeah, and so the lesson being learned is government power run amok, and when they came for Tamir Rice, if you didn't complain, well, you got no right to complain when they come for you.